Welcome to the Burn Bootcamp podcast, everybody. We have a very, very special episode for you today. We had Nyheim Hines in here, okay, from the Buffalo Bills, and he was here as a spokesman for the MDA to talk to Lily Sander. And Lily is an advocate of the MDA. She's living with MD, and they had an amazing conversation, and so we're excited for you to listen to it.
I'm so excited to be here. Enjoy the podcast.
Well, first off, just it's been a pleasure to meet you. I got some great information, read up on you a little bit. So I'm super excited to be here. So first off, you could explain to everybody what kind of muscular dystrophy you have and just tell everybody your story.
I have Charcot-Marie tooth disease, or CMT. So CMT is basically a peripheral nerve and muscle disease. So basically from the elbows down and from the knees down, my muscles are affected. So there's these messages that go from your brain to your spinal cord that make your body move, and my messages get kind of confused and lost. So that creates degeneration with the muscles. So they get weaker and weaker, and then function is lost. So I was diagnosed when I was 4 years old. So I've lived with it for the majority of my life and just learned to grow with it and having to navigate growing up with a disability. So I got involved with the MDA when I was about maybe 8 years old, 9 years old, Preston's age. I went to camp for the first time, and I found my community of people who understood me and who really just got what I was going through. And I didn't have to explain disability to them, and I was just able to have fun, and I was met with such kindness and community. So that's how I got started with the MDA, and I've done Be Their Muscle a few times, and it is truly amazing to have these big names that care about the small people like us, and to have them use their platform to share about muscular dystrophy and to find a cure.
That's great, and I'm glad you said these big companies. That's what I thanked Devin and Morgan earlier today, because my mother has it, so I've been affected. I don't have it, but I'm living, with people, and it's went through each generation. Who knows what it is for me? But just thanking these companies, because most people don't know what muscular dystrophy is. They call it MS or something else. So like having these companies like Burn Bootcamp, or shoot, we've done, Jiffy Lube or Fill the Boot. Having these companies help us a lot, because our voice is not that big. If we band together, it's very, very strong, but we need these companies like Burn Bootcamp. So just want to thank you guys again for that. And then personally for me, just it's been amazing just to watch you. And really, I think what we talked about earlier when we were not on the mic is just my mom. I told you my story. My grandmother passed away in 2004. My mother's 58. She just turned 58 last Thursday. And she has limb-girdle. And, just looking at limb-girdle, looking up different types, there's different types. And whichever one you have, it could always be worse or not. And that's how I've looked at it. So I'm thankful that my mom has had limb-girdle. But for you, just what we were talking about earlier is how is it going, like how is it navigating it growing up? Like my mom, like I know that my mom told me, and it made me understand it a lot more, because my grandmother had it, but when she told me that she grows up in a world and everywhere she goes, there's people telling her that she can't do something. How is it, being 4 years old? I couldn't imagine that at 4 years old. How is it by 8 years old being a part of MDA? Like I did that when I was 21 years old? That's remarkable, having such a powerful voice at 8 years old and teaming up. But how also was it, how'd you get there? How'd you navigate it to get to where you are?
Yeah, so I started with the MDA to find community, and through camp, I found my voice. I was pulled in for interviews and to talk to adults at 8 years old, and so I think that really transformed me to just be able to explain what their donations did for me. And yeah, like your mom said, people constantly tell you what you can't do, and then we also live in a world that wasn't built for us.
Yes.
So everywhere we go, we're reminded that we were not thought of
Toilet
here, or we're not welcome here. So that's been very difficult to navigate a world that wasn't ultimately built for me, and to try to change that from within. And just socially too, how do you explain to a 4-year-old that they have muscular dystrophy?
Yes.
And how do you explain the symptoms, and how does a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old cope with that? So I like to say that MD is the biggest curse and biggest blessing of my life. I wouldn't be who I am without muscular dystrophy, but it has provided some of the greatest challenges that I've had to overcome. But like I said, I wouldn't be who I was or who I am now, and I wouldn't have the community or get to interact with people like you if I didn't have these challenges.
Well, you are who you are, and that's who you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I think my last question for you is, you're a very, very intelligent young woman. You're very, very smart. What are your plans? What are your aspirations? You're very, very smart. You could use it. We could use this brain somewhere in this world. That brain will make this world a better place.
We got jobs at Bird Boot Camp.
Exactly. Yeah. What are your aspirations? I'm sure you have goals.
So I don't see my age as a barrier. So whenever I have goals, I go for them. When I was 8 years old, I started a tutoring business that has continued and followed me into high school. More recently, I've started advocating for people with my disability. I serve on a youth council of a bunch of teens with my disability, and I do a lot of fundraising through that. And then on a note that isn't at all related to MD, I started a nonprofit where I collect period products for people in my community who can't afford them. So that I want to continue with all of those things. I want to use my voice to advocate for people that don't have the opportunity to advocate for themselves. Just like Burn does, I want to amplify people's voices and really help in whatever way I can. And then professionally, I would love to be an adolescent psychologist.
Well, I can tell you one thing. Everybody just give her a round of applause, please. I've been on the camera for years. She's way better than I was in high school. And just, you are really, hearing all these things, your energy is very positive.
Thank you.
I'm positive you're going to reach any goal you put your mind to, even starting at the age of 4. Like you said, it made you who you were. And at 8 years old, you're doing things that, 8 years old, people don't even know their timetable as well.
That was...
and you're doing all sorts of things at 8 years old, starting foundations, and you are truly remarkable.
I think that MD taught me that I can overcome anything and I can reach any goal that I want if I put my mind to it. So that was my first real lesson that I've carried into other aspects of my life, so that you can do what you want. You can overcome your challenges, and it's about using your brain when our bodies don't work.
I'm overwhelmed with just positivity from you. Honestly, we need to get you on the team in MDA. You need to talk to a lot of other people. You are a star. This has honestly been a great conversation, and I didn't know I was supposed to come up here and sit right here, but I am happy I did to ask you these questions. You are truly remarkable. You've inspired me even.
Thank you.
I hope you know that you inspire people younger than you and older than you by telling your story. And not only just telling your story, because as MD, we all have a story, but what you've done at a young age to move other people and to take initiative, start fundraisers, be on the board like you said, that a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people just sit here and just don't talk about it, but you actually have went on and executed and been about it, and that is truly remarkable. You are a star.
Thank you.
I'm inspired by you. Yes.
I think I owe my advocacy to seeing what the MDA does. At a young age, I saw how people came together and ran a camp for kids to make our lives perfect for a week. And so I saw that philanthropy, and I guess I took that and I decided I wanted to be that for someone else. So that is my biggest goal.